Good evening, everyone. I am Hammonton Mike Galetta along with Brian the Ranger Tard. This is the Highly Opinionated Show. We will be on next. Stay tuned.
We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hammonton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to lovely scenic Hammonton, only on the Sports Box Network. I am Hammonton Mike Galetta, along with my partner in crime, Brian, the Ranger Tard. And yes, folks, this is the highly anticipated, highly opinionated show. Hello, Brian.
It's very hot in New Jersey. I don't like this.
It's very hot. It's very hot right now. And don't you get it's funny how the people bitch in the wintertime how it's too cold in New Jersey, and then in the summertime, it's so hot up here.
I have never complained. It's been hot in my life. I mean, it's been cold in my life.
I grew up here. I like it here. I know the state stinks, but you know what? It's home. So it's where we hang our hat, and I'll be in taxes the rest of my life. But anyway, this is the Highly Opinionated Show. Got a great crew tonight. Got some guests coming on, some talk. Got it all. But first, obviously, we'll tell you about the sponsors.
Yeah, we're continuing our series looking back at the 2021 NFL Draft, bringing on reps for the teams that we can get them for. We're going to have Kevin Fitzmaurice from JDF Sports on to discuss the New England Patriots. And Brant Meeks from Game Winning Drive will be on to talk about the Washington football team. And obviously, Mike, there's a lot of news around the league. But as you mentioned, we want to thank our sponsors tonight, Showcase Sports in Hammonton, New Jersey. If you're looking for any sort of athletic gear, let them know that we sent you. They do screen printing. They do everything. They will take good care of you. I can't forget Dave Birnbaum with the Remax Community. If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent in this crazy market, Brian has actually has a deal. He's closing in on part of the team here. So definitely give Dave a call. His number is on our page. And of course, 99 Jersey, check them out. Use our code SportsBoxShow20. Save 20% on your order. A lot of good stuff going on there. Absolutely.
Just a side note for programming purposes. Tomorrow is the return from a long time of teeing off. We'll be back on the Sports Box 8 o'clock. We'll be back talking the PGA Championship and Phil Mickelson, oldest man to win a major. Hats off to Phil. Hats off to Lefty. Phenomenal. Great for golf. We'll be talking about that. Me and Dave Cartwright will be back. So keep an eye out.
Before we dive in head first into the NFL, just real quick, today is the 27th anniversary of one of the all-time great moments in professional sports. I don't care.
Not an all-time great, but that's fine.
Oh, yes, it is. I don't care if you're a hockey fan or not. I don't care if you're a Rangers fan or not. But 27 years ago today, Mark Messier made a bold guarantee where he said, we will win Game 6. It was the Eastern Conference Finals against the New Jersey Devils, and the Rangers were down 3-2 in that series, and it was a must-win game, and he said, we will win Game 6. The Rangers Rangers were down 2-1 at the end of the second period. We had Kerry Frazier on the show who refereed that game. And he said, we said to the guys, they're done. This is the end of this great year the Rangers had. And then lo and behold, Mark Messier with the game tying goal, the game winning goal, and the insurance goal. A natural hat trick in the third period of a game that he guaranteed the win.
Was that the year they played Vancouver in the finals, correct?
Yes, this was the conference finals. Again, we're entering the season of really important dates in '94 for the Rangers. This is the first of three, frankly. But just an all-time, if you get a chance to watch it like on YouTube, just crazy stuff. The stuff of legend. And, again, doesn't matter if you like hockey or not, or the Rangers. Doesn't matter.
So real quick story. My friend Lionel is a Rangers fan as well and a Devils fan. So imagine that. He's both.
What? That's a violation.
He's more Devils than the Rangers.
No, that's a violation.
Anyway, he was rooting for the Rangers that year. They went against Vancouver, made a bet with them. Bet was I took the Canucks, he took the Rangers. I washed his car in Rangers boxers. And the next bet was he hated the Flyers a lot. So the Red Wings played the Flyers. I took the Flyers. I said they wouldn't get swept. Lo and behold, they got swept. And I put on street hockey equipment and walked the Wildwood Boardwalk on 4th of July weekend.
Wow. I mean,
that was good times. Yeah. No more Stanley Cup for me.
So anyway, just want to bring that up again. If you're a sports fan, stuff's unbelievable. Yep. Well, listen, let's get into it. So obviously the big news going on right now is Julio Jones. So
out of here.
Shannon Sharp just calls him on live TV. Right?
That was funny. I saw the clip.
He says, about him in Atlanta, he said he's out of there.
Yeah.
So, I got a phone call coming in.
You're getting called like Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, I should have played that off, right? And he says, I'm out of there. Okay. So, listen, guy's 32 years old. He's been mostly healthy, but not really lately, making a lot of money. Yep. And
it's time.
No, listen, he's all-time great Atlanta Falcon. I mean, for whatever they want to call their Ring of Honor or whatever it is, I mean, this guy's an all-time great. But he's like, I want to go and I want to win.
That's what I mean. I mean, he's making it's time for the shift. And when you're an athlete like this, you make the money, you make, all the money he's set right now, regardless of what he's made in his contracts. I know he's had some big contracts. He's not going to go, in a cardboard box anytime soon. So he's chasing the ring now. And I think he knows he's not going to get it in Atlanta. They're in the midst of not a rebuild, but they're not going to win that division.
No.
So he wants a fresh start and he wants to go somewhere where he's appreciated and they have a shot to win. I mean, that's my.
But this is the thing. So they want a first-round pick in return. Now, I don't think they're going to get that.
No, I don't think they're either.
I mean, you could want a lot of things. You could say, hey, we want.
Well, you start high, you drop. I mean, you don't go high. You don't go low and go high.
Can I get 3 first-round picks? Can I get 2? No, it's like.
Listen, I'll give you 3, but if you want to give me 2 1s, I'll take it.
I mean, listen, we're all men here. Don't break my balls. So, and I thought about it and what would make sense? And I don't really know that there's that many spots off the top of my head that I'm like, oh, that could be a team where I would think about giving a first-round pick for Julio Jones given where I am. And I think if you start to check off teams in your head, it's hard to say, yeah, I like that. The only 2 that snapped to me were Baltimore and Indianapolis. And I say that because Baltimore, now they just took Rashad Bateman in the first round. So they took a receiver. They have Hollywood Brown, whether you think he's whatever. They got the tight end Mark Andrews. I mean, that feels like a move that I think could make sense.
Yes. Yep.
And then in Indianapolis, okay, I mean, look, you just brought a new quarterback in.
A veteran receiver to help the young guys.
You seem to think that you're going to be contending. I think they're pretty good. I think they're the 3rd best team in a conference right now.
Yeah.
So that could be a fit. Anything. Where are
you? He'd be a great guy for Pittman to learn under. I mean, that'd be phenomenal for them to do that.
Yeah.
And of course, we live in the Philadelphia market. We hear all the time, of course, today the Eagles are a dark horse for him. I don't see the Eagles giving up something, even, a second or third for a guy like that. I mean, they're not ready to make a run. They're not one piece away. Yeah, it would be nice, but He wants to go somewhere to win. It's not going to be with the Eagles.
That would be elite level stupid.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But it's funny. He's like, oh, he doesn't want to go to the Cowboys. Okay, cool. Where are the Cowboys going to put him? I mean, come on. That's the one thing they don't need.
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys have no room for him. I mean,
yeah, 3 receivers. I mean, like, does it make any sense? Possibly, maybe like they talk about trading Gallup for him because Gallup's a contract problem. You don't know how that's going to pan out. I mean, is there anything like? I mean, where else would it be? I mean,
I think you can't entertain a first round pick for him because of his health, because he's missed. I mean, he's missed a considerable amount of time over the last probably 3 or 4 years. I mean, he's missed a bunch of games for this team. Maybe it's because he doesn't like being in Atlanta anymore. I don't know what it is, but he seems like he's been breaking down a little bit. And if you're going to give up a 1, you want this guy to be, like obviously a 1 you give Devontae Adams. If they were looking to trade him, you give 1 for him because the guy's a beast. I mean, Julio Jones is a beast when he first came in the league. But these last 2 or 3 years, you got to admit, he's been banged up.
He's 32, Mike. I mean, look, we talk about these guys hitting walls. I mean, 30's a wall.
30's pretty damn close to the wall, and that's why I said. I mean, maybe you give a second for him. I would think a third definitely, but I mean, maybe you can give a second.
I would say there is a very, very, very low probability of them being able to
get a first
round pick.
Yeah, I don't think you would either. I mean, even a team that's on the cusp of winning, I don't think gives up a first round pick. And that first round pick's low anyway. So, I mean, it's a high pick anyway. So it's a big deal.
I don't think they're going to get the first round pick. But I just think that there's really not that many teams that are like, you're close enough that a receiver puts you over the top.
Could he go to the Chargers?
Would they put them over the top though? I mean, do they really?
I don't know. I mean, they got some good receivers there now. Some decent receivers. I mean, he would just, I think, add to the mix. He's got to go somewhere where he doesn't have to be the number 1 guy anymore. I'm not saying he's not that guy, but he's a great role player. Now, I shouldn't say that. He's a great number 2 is what he is. He really is an over the top number 2 guy right now. And he needs to go somewhere where he may not be the man, but he's a very, very, very solid complement. You know what I mean? And I don't know, there's a lot of places that have that, like the Bucks. Bucks can't put him anywhere anyway. But if they were, that would be a good spot because you have Mike Evans, you have Godwin and stuff. But again, you can't put him anywhere. They got no room for anybody.
You see Julio. At his age,
he's just chasing the ring now. He wants to find somewhere we can go where he can try to run for a championship because he wants to win now. That's
fine. But but you're still making a lot of money. It just doesn't.
Yep. They're going to have to some of that money. Atlanta might have to eat some of that money.
Yeah, but I mean, Tennessee, maybe. I know A.J. Brown's been kind of politicking on it on social media.
Yeah, that's possible. Are you a receiver away in Tennessee?
No, I don't think so.
You're probably one of the closer teams, but I don't know if they're over the top to get a receiver. It's tough. A receiver's a tough position. Not that they grow on trees, but it's not a position that really puts you over the top sometimes.
Right.
So,
yeah,
where he goes. I think he definitely goes somewhere.
Atlanta might be overplaying. I mean, might be. They're overplaying their cards here, just for sure. Yeah, I think
they're really trying to hold out for a lot for him, and I don't think you're going to get that. So. Yeah.
And then the other big story of the day, the Green Bay Packers. So Aaron Rodgers does not attend OTAs. Now that wasn't so much
right. It's a volunteer thing, so it's not a.
Well, no, it's just like you knew that he was unhappy, so it's organized team activities. It's not exactly something where oh my God, if he showed up, I think it'd be a lot more news if he showed up than if he didn't show up, right? Yeah. So then he goes and has an interview with Kenny Mayne on ESPN. I think it's one of Kenny Mayne's last interviews. He's getting let go from ESPN, which I think is pretty stupid on their part.
Stupid. Yeah, stupid.
Neither here nor there. Yeah. But he had some interesting comments to Kenny, and I'm going to read a lot of this verbatim, and then I'm going to put the half quote up here. Is with my situation, look, it's never been about the draft picking Jordan. I love Jordan. He's a great kid. A lot of fun to work together. I love the coaching staff, love my teammates, love the fan base in Green Bay. It's been an incredible 16 years. Mm-hmm. And then he says something along the lines of, it's just kind of about a philosophy and maybe forgetting that it is about the people that make the thing go. It's about character. It's about culture. It's about doing things the right way. So
you think he's still irked about the field goal last year?
no, but I thought about I thought about this, and I had a very busy day with work. But I did this kind of like just stuck in my head and like kind of like bounced around. Like, what does he mean? Right? Like he's very like not standoffish, but like he's kind of
tiptoeing around it, is what he's doing.
Like he's trying not to say it,
But he's trying to say.
He doesn't want to say, "Hey, I think the GM is an asshole." Like he doesn't want to just say that. Like I like he's kind of saying that,
right?
But he doesn't want to say that.
Right. He wants a generalization, say it so people understand what he's going through, but he doesn't want to be the asshole that comes out and says it. So he's trying to like say tiptoe around it, and just try to give slight hints and stuff like that. Listen, we said this when Jordan Love got drafted, that this all was going to take place, that he was going to have the great year. He was going to say, "Screw you! I want the great year." He had the great year, and now he wants out.
But the way that I'm reading, again, I'm taking him at face value, right? If he's lying, he's lying. But based on what he is saying, doesn't it feel like, why didn't you just tell me what you were doing?
Yeah, well, I think he doesn't want to be the bad guy here. He doesn't want to look anything like the bad guy.
And that is perfectly fine.
Right.
But I think he's just like, if you just told me what your plans were.
Yeah, he feels shunned.
This is like I think as though he has been treated like an employee.
Yep.
And he's like, you know what? I'm Aaron fucking Rodgers. Like you don't like there's certain guys you can do, and I'm not one of those guys.
No, you're right.
He's earned it.
Yeah.
Over the 16 years that he's been there, because
absolutely. Yep.
What else do they really have?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, like why did
he should have got more
guy that way?
He should have got more bent before, because there's a team that was on the cusp of doing something, and all they had to do was draft a wide receiver in that spot, and they moved up to get a quarterback. His replacement, like you said, the way they're treating him now is he feels like he's left out of the party when he's given 16 years of his career there and has some damn good years. Got him far and away.
Look, what have they had? What have they really had since he's been there? I mean, they don't draft any sort of help for him. And then, look, 9 straight first-round picks on the defense, and then the 10th one, we're going to take the guy who's going to replace you. And, there's just no communication. Now, to them, they're going to say, well, we own the team. We can do it. I get it. But, there's some guy,
there's a courtesy there to a guy like that.
All right, so the whole thing going on with the Broncos, the guy, I forget his name's escaping, but the guy who got hurt in working out, and now they're not going to pay him his contract.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if that happens in Tampa Bay, to anybody, right? And then Tom says, just give him the goddamn check. They're going to give him the check. It's Tom. There's
it's a respect thing. Yeah, it's absolutely respect.
But it's just like you are not just a guy.
Mm-hmm.
You are the face of the franchise, and you've been that way for all this time. So I understand where he's, I know Hav he's acting like a girl, like it's like high school. Look, when you have that kind of clout, I think that it's owed to you.
Well, you Brian, you think of that too. You like you said, Brady says something, okay, it's done. Name another quarterback in the league besides a Tom Brady that should get that kind of respect. Well, right up there is Aaron Rodgers. And he's a guy that's given 16 years to a franchise, made them a better franchise, got them as far as they have every year after year. He deserves to be in the loop a little bit. I kind of agree with that he feels shunned right now. He feels like, all these years, okay, he's kept me informed and all that stuff. But for something like this, you didn't even say it was coming. You could have told me that you were getting this guy, or they were thinking about doing this or whatever, and that's probably all he needed. But to do that and not get him in on it, he feels like they're going to do more stuff like this.
I think to him, it's like, for everything that I've given you over the past 16 years, I should have a little more control of how this is going to end.
Not even control, just let me know what's going on before you drop it. You know what I mean? Just so I'm not shocked, because I'm sure he was shocked draft day, because he didn't know that was coming.
But I also think that but put yourself, look, I was critical of the pick. You were critical of the pick of, obviously you and I would not have made that pick, but put yourself in the situation, in the shoes of Jordan Love. And so much has been made of, they did this before with Rodgers and it worked out, so they're going to do it again. I'm thinking to myself, isn't that insulting to Rodgers, that you're just assuming that you're going to take a guy in the 20s in a draft.
Moved up to get him.
Yeah, and he's just going to pan out, right? Like, that's an insult to Aaron Rodgers, because you're just saying, well, we're Green Bay and we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
No. You know why that worked, Mike? Because it was Aaron freaking Rodgers. That's why it worked. So all these people that are going to say, oh, well, this is what they did before, they're going to do it again. Are you drafting Aaron Rodgers again? Because that's the only way it's going to definitely work.
Yeah.
If they took Johnny Manziel at 29 or whatever pick it was, like, are we talking the same way? No. So
I'll give you another scenario, Brian. It wasn't even like they were at that pick, at their normal pick, and said, okay, well, the guy that we thought wasn't going to be there was there. He fell in our lap. Let's take him. No, they knew this because they moved up to get him. So that's more of a slap in the face, though, because he didn't know about this, and they moved up. They knew that they were going to get this guy.
This could not have been handled worse at every juncture, in my opinion.
And like you said, it sucks for Jordan Love because he got drafted by an NFL team, and he just came to kind of a screwed up situation right now. So he's going to get, if Rodgers does get out of there this year, or they trade him or whatever, and he gets thrown into the fire now, I mean, how confident do you feel Green Bay with Jordan Love leading the charge now? I mean,
I think they're a 4-win team.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
It's not even a shot at their roster, but he's been so important to them. Like you don't realize like how important these guys are until they go. Oh, yeah. And nobody knows that, I think, better than our first guest tonight, Kevin Fitzmaurice from JDF Sports, because he was in a situation where Tom walked and the Pats mystique just fell apart. So for all of this talk, and I see him laughing, he knows it too. I'm going to bring him on in a second. So for all of this talk about, how good the Pats were all that time, to be fair, the year that Tom goes is the year the wheels fall off. Like, just add it together. So Kevin, I'm going to put you on right now.
Hello! Breaking my heart, guys, already. Jesus.
Well, it's not really my intention, but I see the parallels here.
Dude,
Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay.
Thank you very much, man, for Tom Brady. I appreciate it, man.
You know what? I'm happy that he went to Tampa Bay and he won. That was very nice to see. But, talking about, I was listening to you guys talking about Aaron Rodgers there. It's just, it's such a tough situation because it's like tug of war. Like, I see Rodgers' side of things, like they haven't helped him out and they're kind of relying on him. But I also see where Rodgers doesn't take the pay cuts. And like, have they given him a reason to? Like, have they shown him like, hey, you take a pay cut, we'll bring this guy and we'll do this. Like, we saw the way that Belichick GM'd the team with the Patriots, that when Tom Brady took those pay cuts, they were able to bring in some guys and maximize the salary cap for the roster. Would the Packers do that? I don't know. So it's kind of like tug of war. Neither side want to budge. And now we're just at a situation like, okay, like, and I agree with you, Brian, you lose Rodgers, you lose everything. Like, right now they're a fringe championship caliber team with Aaron Rodgers. So with a brand new Jordan Love and starting over, where the heck are they? They have barely invested in their defense. They draft well. They don't spend any money. They overpay all of their guys. I mean, I still can't believe Aaron Jones got paid. I love Aaron Jones.
I agree.
Player. You draft AJ Dillon, you let Jamal Williams walk, and then you pay your money's now in Aaron Jones.
Kevin, that was mistake number 2, is they bring, AJ Dillon in and then you overpay, Jones. It's like, why? Don't bring Dillon in. If you're going to pay Jones, that's fine, but don't bring Dillon in then. You brought his backup in to pay the starter. I don't understand that move at all.
And then Corey Linsley walk, who is, becoming one of the better centers in the National Football League. So the offensive line gets a little bit worse.
Yep.
I know that they addressed wide receiver in the draft, but I feel like they've whiffed on almost every opportunity possible for a wide receiver. So now it's kind of like the last breaking point. Like, I almost feel like you bring Julio in, maybe you save stuff, but that's so uncharacteristic of to go and for a guy like Julio. I don't think that happened. I feel like that's the last string. Like, that's the last possible way to say we effed up, we're sorry, but they're not going to do it.
Well, Kevin, I want to ask you, I don't know if you caught what I told to Brian. I said, I think what's more of a slap in the face to Rodgers is not only did they not first tell him about this was going to go on their pick, it wasn't like they were sitting at their pick and Jordan Love fell to them and they said, you know what, this is the guy we wanted. We didn't think he was going to be here. Let's take him. And that could have been easier to sell, but they moved up to get him, which they knows that they wanted him. So Rodgers is like, wait a minute, they didn't tell me, and now they moved. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Right. That's why I think you feel slighted here.
And it really is. It's such a it's really tough, and I don't know the direction Green Bay is going. I know their fans are frustrated right now. They have some great pieces on defense. They have some great pieces on offense. It's just not coming together. Aaron Rodgers is the only glue that's holding it together. You got a great corner in Jari Alexander. I love Adrian Amos. Kevin King was trash. They move up and grab this Eric Stokes kid. Let's see how well he does, but a lot of people felt that was a reach. You have Zadarius Smith. You have Preston Smith. You have Kenny Clark. What else are you going to bring in to make this defense a powerhouse? They've gotten away with playing in a shit division for a long time now.
Yeah.
It's going to catch up to them soon. Minnesota got better. I think Detroit is trending. And Chicago, I feel like Chicago is a couple pieces away from actually making a little bit of noise, and it's definitely the quarterback.
We start the field there. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. So.
But I feel that there's, this division is getting a little bit better, and the Packers are just staying there in like back-to-back NFC championship whiffs. It's disgusting, and you're not making any movement. They don't care.
LJ DeLeon, new name. Appreciate the love there. Did it to Rod, did the same they did to Favre. No class, lack of respect for two all-timers. But that's the thing is I just like the argument of this is what they do in Green Bay is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life, because you're basically saying that, yes, we were able to draft an all-time great. So, and that's what made that work. Oh, so now we're going to let this guy sit for 3 years. It's going to happen again simply because this is what we've done. Because, if they draft me at 29, that's what's going to happen. It's just the most idiotic. I don't really understand.
It's crazy to me that you go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and you had Bart Starr before that. Obviously years before you had a little bit of fluff in between.
Yeah. And
how many championships have they managed to walk away with all that perennial quarterback play? I mean, you have to think that is this one of the laughable franchises in sports right now? Think of how they have had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers for years. Mm-hmm. And how many championships have they managed to pull that out with?
I think they're a 4-5 win team without him. I do.
100%.
Yeah. We just said that before the show. Imagine Rodgers gets moved and they go into the season. Now all of a sudden you're changing the whole scenario. You put Jordan Love in there, and now this kid comes in there. You think they win a division? I don't know.
No,
I don't think so.
No.
So now that we're done talking about the Packers. So we brought you on to talk about your New England Patriots and a look back at the 2021 NFL draft. And to be honest with you, at least at the first couple of picks, I'm really a fan of what they did. And obviously, first and foremost, the overarching story of the whole thing is the pick at 15. Mac Jones, the quarterback out of Alabama. And I think that the story here, Kev, is that they were linked to him a lot. And there was a talk, maybe he goes third overall, which, we laughed about that, but that wasn't really. How about the fact that they sat there at 15 and got their guy? Mm-hmm. I don't even care if the dude busts. I really don't. The fact of the matter is, Bill is a stone cold. I don't want to play cards with the guy. I have card games, or pre-pandemic, I had card games in my house. He's not invited because he is, number one, he wouldn't care to play for our stakes. But the point is, what a good job by him. You saw the Bears going up for Justin Fields. I mean, you saw some teams, make that move, and he's just like, whatever. It may have been the dog of the computer again because he sat there and got his guy at 15. I don't care if he screws up.
And Kevin, before you start, you know why they did this move?
Why?
Cam Newton stinks. Okay, that's why they did this. Okay, wait. If you didn't, let me dust this off. Cam Newton stinks. Okay, he's awful.
Mike, the microphone is not the monitor of the camera.
That's awful. All right. He stinks. How's that?
Here we go. Nice. Awful. Yeah, I mean, it was rough last year. It really was. But we've talked about it before, and I know, Mike, you have a tough feel about Cam Newton there.
He stinks.
He ran over his dog.
I think that last year he had I don't think Cam Newton is anything what he was, absolutely, and I was hoping for that last year when we signed him, and hoping that they get the best. But I think he's still a guy that could win some football games, and I say that because I don't think he got his fair shot last year. If he comes out and stinks for a lot of this year, then yeah, 100%. But I mean, we're not losing much. We got Mac Jones. We're ready to see what we got with him. You brought back Brian Hoyer. You have Jarrett Stidham. The quarterback room is pretty full right now in New England. I'm willing to see what Cam can do. I've been reading a lot about his throwing mechanics, and all the coaches and all the players are like, he looks so much different. And I guess he completely reworked. Now, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but last year was tough. And I don't know if you guys listen to I Am an Athlete, the podcast with Brandon Marshall and shout out Joe Cinco. It's a really good one if you haven't checked it out. Cam was on there a couple weeks ago, and Cam was talking about how, imagine that everyone goes out on a road trip together, and Cam pulled over to go to a gas station, and everyone just kept driving. It's going to take him a while to reach there. And he used that analogy for talking about what it was like coming into an older system that he didn't know, and then missing all that time for COVID pretty early into the season. And I'm not making excuses for the guy. Absolutely not. He's on a cheap deal. You bring him in. He's fighting to play in the NFL again. We're hoping that we can get a starting quarterback play out of him. But he did have kind of a rough off season last year because he didn't really get to learn too much, and it was during the COVID times. He missed a lot of time because of COVID, and then he came back, and he was just flat out terrible. And I think at that point, it's tough to play in Boston. He weathered all of that. He took everything. I mean, we were throwing everything we had at him. It was all Cam's fault. There was
you're not making excuses, though, Kevin. Look, you know what this is?
What's that?
Cam's touchdowns last year. 8.
On 2 hands.
8 touchdowns he had.
I know, and it wasn't impressive, but I'm willing to give him another role just to see what we can do because of the deal we bring him in on. We already have Mac. Let's see what we got in Mac. I know people want to see what they got in Stidham. There's no better options. We weren't bringing in Trubisky. We weren't, sure, we could have made a move. But like Brian said, we sat patient and we waited for our guy to drop to us.
That was the move. That was the move.
So we have him now. So it's like the pressure for Cam is on more, but the pressure for Bill is off. If Cam sucks, you bring in Mac, you see what you got in him for the rest of the year, and then you reassess next offseason with whatever you have. But you finally brought in some pretty good weapons. We got our 2 tight end set with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry.
Like that.
Nelson Aguilar, a guy that's shown success, a guy that's been an absolute joke, coming in here to prove himself. Had a pretty good season with the Las Vegas Raiders last year. I love that. I know you have a hate-love relationship for Nelson Aguilar.
Honestly, I hope he scores 25 touchdowns because I can laugh at all the people around here. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And, so you have a lot of these guys that are coming back. I love the Kendrick Bourne signing. They beefed up the offensive line. The defense is looking very strong this year. I think that they have a top 10 potential on defense. So there's really no pressure on anybody but Cam. And Julian Edelman even came out and said not too long ago, Cam's a very hard worker, but Cam has to make sure he shows up this year because I think he called him Mac Daddy or something like that. He says is here to play. And I guess he's been having a pretty solid camp. They're pretty impressed with him. But the good thing with Mac, and to go into our assessment here of drafting him, I wasn't a big fan because I don't like any Alabama quarterback. I think that they play with the best of the best in a pro system with the best coach of all time. But who's the closest to that in the NFL? Mr. Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. So he falls into the number one situation for him, and it's a match made in heaven for Bill and for Mac. We got a couple more years to see what we can get out of him, obviously. I'm excited to see. I wasn't so crazy about the pick. As soon as the Bears moved up and they grabbed Fields, I knew that Jones was coming to us. But he's my quarterback. I got to suck it up, and we'll see what we got out of him. But, I mean, he knows – he's played with great talent before. He knows the system. He knows Nick Saban's system. Even some guys that have played for Alabama, Najee Harris, said that the Pittsburgh Steelers organization is a lot easier than Alabama Crimson Tide. So – it's going to be a good fit, and I think the pressure's on Cam, but if Cam doesn't perform, we have a backup, and if we don't do well this season, so we get another draft pick and we continue to rebuild. I'm ready for it. We had so much success with Tom. The time is here.
It's documented the connection that Bill has with Nick Saban, so it's not as if he didn't have the inside track on this guy for as long as he's been there. So you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. And you brought up the defense. One of my favorite picks of the second round was the Patriots taking Christian Barmore, also out of Alabama, because he was a guy. Now, he was a faller to me, not because so much of the talent that he had, but just because this was just, I didn't think that D tackle was getting emphasized that much in this draft. So I know they traded up to get him. They gave up 46, 122, and 139 to go up to 38 to get him. But I thought it was a great deal because you can't play all these kids at one time. And it's first round talent. I mean, really the question was always how far would he drop simply because of the position, because it was just a weird year for D tackle. I loved that pick. And again, I know if you want to take guys from Alabama, if you don't like quarterbacks, I'm sure you love defensive linemen.
Yes. And Bill can never have enough big body defensive tackles. I mean, he'll have a plethora of them if he can. So we brought in Davin Godchuk from the Miami Dolphins to play defensive tackle. So that'll be a nice situation. I think we lost Adam Butler this offseason, who started for us last year. So I think Barrymore comes in, and I think that's a nice pick. I also love what we did in the third round with Ronnie Perkins. A solid pass rusher, a guy that can line up in multiple situations. So I think that they focused on everything that they needed to in this draft. I thought they had a great, I don't even know about the running back that they drafted later. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but I love Ronnie Perkins. I think that they have a nice pass rush building here. I love Chase Winovich. I think this is a guy that we're going to be talking about this year or next year as one of the better, pass rushes in the league. You brought in Matthew Judon, which was our big, a defensive offseason signing. We still have Stephon Gilmore, which is a surprise to me, but he's still on the roster. So we hold on to Stephon Gilmore. JC Jackson's coming back. I know we lost Jason McCourty, but Kyle Duggar had a great season last year as a rookie. We have Kyle Duggar back there with Patrick Chung retiring. So I love this situation that the defense is in. I love the Barrymore pick. I love the Perkins pick. I loved everything that they did. I thought that they really addressed all of their needs, and then they went out in free agency, and they went out and got the guys that they had to. So I love the situation we're in right now. Like I said, pressure's all on Cam. There's nothing on Bill. I think Bill's building a great team right now, and he's doing it. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago. The window in New England, it's closed with Tom Brady gone, absolutely, but it's starting to open up a little bit just because of the fact that Bill is still there and what he's able to do. So it really, the quarterback is the most important position probably in all of sports. Mm-hmm. We'll see what we got with Cam, but we got Mac back there. Give it a couple more years at least. You buy yourself some more time to let Bill see what he has to do.
So I want to just briefly touch on the quarterback situation real quick, like we did before, and then I'm going to go to another offensive move here. But the quarterback situation is kind of weird to me in New England because now that you have, they've been raving about Stidham for a while now. And like you said, he hasn't really gotten in there, and he's the next. Looks like Castle when Castle came in, and he looks like Garoppolo, and he's the heir apparent. Well, he's the heir apparent. So now you have Cam Newton there, and you have Stidham. Now you draft the guy who's supposedly the heir apparent. So what do you do with Stidham now? Do you keep him, and if Cam Newton doesn't work out, you get rid of Cam, and he's a backup again for this kid? Or do you now try to shop him and try to get something like you did Garoppolo and Castle before?
I think Stidham's a fantastic fit in Houston because their new GM, Nick Carusello, I believe, he was he was part of the Patriots organization when they drafted Stidham. So I think that giving him a shot, and we've seen New England quarterbacks bounce around to old, teammates. We saw it with Ryan Mallett when Bill O'Brien was over there. It wouldn't faze me to go see Jarrett Stidham be a Houston Texan, especially if this Deshaun Watson thing isn't cleared up by the beginning of the season. They have a lot of guys on their roster right now. I'm pretty sure they just signed Ryan Finley and then cut him. But you got Tyrod Taylor over there. They drafted who did they draft there at the quarterback position?
Which team?
The Texans.
Davis Mills.
Yes.
Davis Mills. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. So, you have Davis Mills, you have Tyrod Taylor. They brought a couple of different guys in. It wouldn't surprise me if they went and traded Stidham. I think Hoyer was a signing for a veteran guy that knows the offense. I think that was more of like an extra coach role because, Hoyer knows the Patriots. He's a very, very smart guy. Bill loves him. I wouldn't be surprised if he brings him back to be some sort of coach or assistant somewhere in the Patriots organization. But a long-time backup for Brady, knows the system, knows what Bill expects, knows the offense very well. I expect him to still be on the roster. And then you roll with Cam and you can't keep Mac and Jarrett. That's not going to be possible. So I would expect Jarrett to get shipped out somewhere. And I wouldn't be surprised if in August, he gets shipped away for next year's 6th round pick or 7th round pick or, swap of a player or something like that.
I don't necessarily know. I know it's been brought up, could Cam start week 1? Listen, we're just going to got done talking about Jordan Love. I hate, and The Rock means hate. I hate when there's first round drafted quarterbacks that don't play because it's just the way the contracts are structured, the way the cap is. You have a limited amount of time with these guys at money that's not an absolute disaster. And I can honestly make a cogent case as to why you should never sign a quarterback to a second contract, because it's diminishing returns. You're always going to, it's never going to be worth the money. I don't care who it is. And honestly, look, you can make a case for Mahomes, and it's going to be a great case study, because now this guy's making all this money, and you're going to have some trouble keeping the team together. So if that team falls apart, you can say whatever you want to, but they would have been better off not giving him the money. And it's crazy to think about that, but just the way caps are in this league. And it's not so much that like it's going the way of the running back. I don't mean to say that. I will draft a quarterback number one. It doesn't matter. If you have that, you have everything, at least a good start to everything. But guys don't normally win on second deals.
Right.
Because then it becomes so much harder to fill the team around them.
Right.
It's the Dak argument, in that if you can't win when Dak's making $600,000, then how are you going when he's making $40 million?
Look at Russell Wilson.
Exactly right.
Russell Wilson came in to a great situation there in Seattle, went and won, went to another one, and what has he done since he got paid?
And ironically enough, I mean, we always say, oh, look at the Seattle Seahawks. It's all Russell Wilson. Yeah, it has to be, because he's going to make it so much money.
Yeah, because you had to let guys like Thomas and Sherman and all those guys walk away. You have, two of the most expensive positions in football paid with Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner. Where else are you going to spend your money? That's why guys like Shaq Griffin and Jadeveon Clowney and all these guys that have been in Seattle have walked away. And now you got Jamal Adams, who I think is completely overrated. Completely overrated.
That was just
disaster.
It's a disaster because it's the position.
Yeah.
Like, you don't win with elite safeties. You just don't.
Yeah.
We can talk about all these, but it's just, to me, like, I'm not, and I liked him for the Cowboys, depending the price. When it started getting into these 2-1s, I'm like,
yeah,
pause that shit.
Because by the way, your Celtics are playing good tonight. They're only down 28. It's the middle of the third quarter, so
it's a brutal stretch.
Let me flip with you.
They got whipped off the floor.
I am relying on what I think is going to happen. I need the Boston Bruins to absolutely destroy the New York Islanders if they should advance.
I hope so.
Okay, so like not that I am a Bruins fan. I actually like a lot of their players. I like their team. I mean, if you called them the Austin, Texas Marauders, I'd like them a lot more. It's just like the way that line is just so good, and it's just like, my favorite part of them beating Washington was when Chara was like doing the thing at the end, like,
or Chara, but I mean,
I don't know what to do now.
Yeah. He's like, shit, I made the wrong decision.
No, I don't think it was his call. I think that, and I think they made the right move there. But
yeah, I think that it was just an agreement between organizations where they were just like, listen, we want you to do this. And he's like, I don't really want to do that. So, okay, well then I guess there's not a fit. And, he went to Washington, had a, pretty solid season for what it was. And, we've done well. We're young. I love the Taylor Hall signing. I thought that was great.
That was the best. That trade. I said that trade's going to make a difference because they got him for nothing.
Yeah. And he's playing well. And Chris was just on Review and Preview, our host of Puck Off, and he was just talking about how even Krejci's playing better because he's next to Hall.
I mean, look, for all the talk we talk about, Boston sports is over. It doesn't really seem that way from the outside looking in.
No, the Red Sox are playing pretty well too.
We're not going to talk about. Let's.
Yeah, we're not. This isn't the Boston hour.
Listen, my baseball theme song is "Wake Me Up When September Ends." So until we get there, we're not really going to get all into the Red Sox. We're just going to assume this is temporary because God forbid.
Yeah.
So Kevin, obviously, I'm sorry.
Brian. No, I was going to just ask you real quick. So just in totality, taking a look at what the Pats did in the draft, give me your grade, what you liked, what you hated, and just, do you feel more confident, less confident, meh, after the draft?
I feel a lot more confident. I would honestly give them like a B+ or an A-. I thought that all of their picks made a ton of sense. I thought they assessed almost every single position. Obviously quarterback, defensive tackle, which we need some depth at. They got it. You can never have too many pass rushers. So I love the Ronnie Perkins pick. We need somebody else to line up in the defensive end, outside linebacker position. I don't know what they're going to do with Donta Hightower coming back. I expect him to take back that role as the middle linebacker, but I wouldn't be surprised as he's getting older, a big bodied guy, moving him to an outside to start using him more as a pass rusher to try to save some of his body so he's not taking that constant contact. But I think that the Ronnie Perkins pick, he's able to shift and move outside linebacker and defensive end, which Bill absolutely loves. The running back position, the Stevenson kid out of Oklahoma, I think we got him in the 4th round.
Yep.
It was a good pick. And I know the way that Bill does like running backs, like when we drafted James White, he didn't play right away. Damian Harris didn't play until really last year. Sony Michel was a 1st round pick. We used him almost immediately, but he drafts these running backs and then he just kind of keeps them on the shelves. And then all of a sudden it's like an AFC championship game and this guy comes out and he scores 3 or 4 touchdowns. So, Stevenson was a little bit of a question mark, but, a teammate of Perkins there, the defensive end that we took in the 3rd round. So it's going to be interesting what we do to bring Stevenson along here, especially in a pretty heavy running back room with James White, Rex Burkhead, Sony Michel, and Damian Harris. We also had a kid last year. I can't remember his name, but he played pretty well for a couple of games. I like the safety out of Missouri that we got. I think that's a nice fill after losing a guy like Patrick Chung and also, in the secondary, Jason McCourty leaving. I thought that this was a nice pickup. In the 6th round, a pretty late pick. And then I love Trey Nixon at a UCF in the 7th round. I thought that was a good kind of late pick, a guy that could, he's been impressing at camp. They've really liked what they've seen out of him so far. You lose Julian Edelman. I think Jacoby Myers is going to slide into that slot role this year because he played pretty well last year as basically the number 1 for most of the year. Now you have Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, N'Keal Harry is still over there. Hopefully they get Julio Jones. I'm kidding. So, fitting Trey Nixon in there will be nice and kind of slide some things around and make some pieces move. I really like what they're doing there with the wide receiver room kind of shaping it up. They didn't go out and make a huge splash at wide receiver. They did it at tight end, which Bill has pretty much been his bread and butter, especially with a big body like Hunter Henry and then an athletic guy like Jonnu Smith. And the number one thing about Jonnu Smith last year was his yards after catch was like out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can take contact and go down the field, very similar to a Gronk. Doesn't have the impact, not the big bodied tight end that Gronk was, but I think Jonnu Smith will come in and have a very strong impact, especially in a Patriot system across from Hunter Henry too.
Mike, the last word.
Yeah. So my question to you is, you got the loss of Edelman, and Edelman came out and said that he wanted to go to Tampa, but he just couldn't tell Bill. But anyway, that's we're under the bridge now, whatever it is. But do you think Harry's going to step up and be that number 1 guy this team needs?
I don't know. This is Harry's last year for me. I give every player in the NFL 3 years to come and improve themselves. So this is Harry's last year. There's no excuses now. He'll have 2 years with his quarterback. He played a lot of last year, just really didn't make an impact. He's learned the system a lot. They have some other weapons that they're ready to move on past him. I would like to see N'Keal Harry step up and have a successful season, even if he goes in there, 50, 60 catches for 750 yards and 6 or 7 touchdowns. I would still be satisfied with that. I just need to see some progression out of him. There is a lot of expectations.
Yeah,
He was
a lot of expectations.
He was great coming out of Arizona State. And, I made the joke about the Julio Jones thing, and it is a joke, but the name is floating around out there in New England.
They are the favorite to get him, actually.
Vegas rules all. Vegas is moving up the ranks. I think the 49ers were the favorite to get him, but the Patriots have climbed up to like the 2nd or 3rd now.
Yeah, I don't.
Titans are right there. So, I mean, it would be a great fit. There was like some sort of rumor that he wants to play with Cam Newton. He wants to play for Winter. He definitely doesn't want to go to Dallas.
I mean, why would you want to go to Dallas? First of all, they have 3 receivers, so where are you going to play?
Exactly.
I mean, I love that argument.
Just go to Tampa Bay and just go play with Brady.
Sure. Just go play corner in Tampa. What do you
warm?
Just go hang out, get a ring, whatever.
Just stock it up.
Yeah.
Add as many guys as you can. How do you feel about Tampa Bay this year? Do you think you guys could repeat?
I tell you what, they got a shot because I can't believe they kept everybody. And Brian knows
everybody.
I was stingy on them, getting rid of a bunch of guys like Levant David, all these guys leaving. I didn't know how they were going to sign them, but they signed them all back. Mike Evans took less money. Some guys reworked their deals. I mean, they all like playing together. They know that Brady wins, so they'll do whatever they can to keep this crew together. And I think Wirfs was a great pick too to keep Brady upright. He had a phenomenal year. That kid's a beast.
And then on top of all that, they draft your guy Trask.
Oh, Mike
I ordered a jersey.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I've never been so excited for a second round pick in my life.
You probably ordered a second pair of underwear after that.
Oh my God. I was floating out of here. I was blowing so many loads. It was
I
crazy.
texted Brian right when they picked him, and I was like, anyone check on Mike yet?
The kid to me is a smart kid. He's got a big arm. He's a project. He's got to learn. and it's going to take him some time to get rolling.
Better to learn from.
But yeah, I was going to say, you sit behind the best quarterback of all time. I mean, what's not better than that? And then stepping in 3 years and maybe being a part of this winning team still. I mean, it's just a great fit for him. Really.
Hey, at this point, he might not play for 10 years the way Brady.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I'm sure he doesn't care.
He better get that
That happened in New England too many times.
Nice grip on that clipboard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, we love having you on. By the way, you look great. So keep up with the gyms. Good to see
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, get the Celtics jersey off tonight, Kev.
Listen, I'm just holding strong. I'm representing my guy Jaylen Brown. He's not playing. He's out. He's hurt. But yeah, it's tough to see him go. But I mean, the way that they've just given up almost every game. They don't have the fight in them. This isn't Boston basketball, which we're used. We're used to that gritty, just hit that dagger and look at the crowd and scream. And so I'm hoping next year with fans back in the stands, it'll be a lot better. How do you guys feel about the 76ers?
Well, Brian's not exactly a basketball aficionado.
All I know is I thought the play-in tournament was dumb.
Yeah.
I don't like gimmicks generally. They're talking about a mid-season tournament, and I don't like that.
Yeah, Kevin, I'll give you I'm not a big Sixers fan, but I will tell you, I think they'll beat the Wizards, and I think they'll win a second round. But there's two things. Then they have to beat the Nets, which the way they're playing right now, I don't know if they can. But if they beat the Nets, they deserve to go to the finals and be in there and root for champions. But if they lose, they better get Ben Simmons out of town that week because it's not working here anymore with that. They got to start winning with Ben Simmons in the lineup. And if they can't beat the Nets with him, they got to start picking apart this team and get rid of some big pieces.
He's a good mismatch, too. So that should be a good matchup. I mean, because I don't expect us to go past Brooklyn. I'm just being honest here. I love my Boston Celtics. I really do. I think Tatum's a stud. I love Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, one of my favorite players. But I don't think we go on too much farther from here.
The Nets have too much chemistry right now. They're just playing so well together. Now Durant's starting to roll and Harden. I mean, they just roll weapons at you. So they're going to be tough to beat in the East. They're real tough in the East.
Sixers could beat them.
They could. They definitely could beat them. I'm just saying, if they don't beat the Nets, they better start moving some pieces big time.
Well, this is why I've become less of a basketball fan, just because things like Brooklyn can happen. I mean, how many times in sports do we see things like Brooklyn where you have 3 of the top 10 players, maybe even top 5, whatever way you're cutting it, on the same exact roster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the playing game saves LeBron again.
Isn't like do Kyrie split personalities count as 2 different players in the top 10 or no?
I hate Kyrie. Kevin Durant, and James Harden. They're my 3 least favorite players in all of sports, and they're on the same.
Listen, we Sportsbox have been big fans of JDF for many, many years. We love seeing all the growth you guys have going on. We feel your pain when Facebook hits you the way they hit us. Don't like Mark Zuckerberg. I'd like to punch him in the face.
Bring it in. Hey,
but tell the people where they can find the awesome content that you and your team is putting out on pretty much a daily basis at this point.
Listen, after you guys follow the Sports Box and check them out on all their platforms and all the great stuff that Brian and Mike and all those guys are doing, make sure you head on over to JDF Sports. If you're a hockey fan, after this show, make sure you guys head on over there and check out Chris and Dylan. They have a great product, Puck Off for hockey. They do an excellent job over there. Very exciting. They do great with segments, awesome fan engagement. Tomorrow night, we have Buckets with my guy, Justin Kearns, Kyle Russo, and Zach Besaw. So make sure to check them out. And then Thursdays, we have Four Corners with Mike Fonz, and who's the new guy?
I was going to say the new guy.
Albert. They just added somebody, Albert. So they're coming back, ramping up. I'm off for the off season, so I'm enjoying myself, relaxing. We unless some crazy move. June 1st, I have a feeling that something big is going to happen after that whole dead money move. So I think I might be live sometime after that because there's a lot of names that are circulating. But make sure you guys are following the Sports Box. You guys do fantastic stuff. Brian and Mike, it's always a pleasure to be on the show. I love what you guys are doing. You guys are growing. You're adding more shows. You're gaining followers. You're putting out some great content. So keep it up. You guys inspire us for sure.
Thank you, brother. Tell your hockey boys they need a Ranger fan, with some actual realistic stuff. I'll be doing Blue Truth pretty soon here, but I'm more than happy to.
I'm excited about Blue Truth. You and I were talking about that a little bit. I'm glad you're actually doing it.
Listen, I love the logo. I just did.
That is awesome. Yeah. Did your wife do that?
She did.
She did.
Not that good.
Kevin, don't get his head any bigger, Kevin.
I'm not that good.
And listen, I'm gonna start traveling again for work, probably mid-June. So I'm gonna be up in your neck of the woods. So we're gonna have to get together. What's that?
Did you go to Worcester? Right, Worcester.
I do. Right. I cover the Northeast, so I'll be up in your neck of the woods.
Ballpark over there, the Woo Sox.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Triple A team just moved out to Worcester.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so maybe we go check out a game.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
there
work
we
from home
go.
3 days a week, so I'm going to hang out in here.
Drink your Starbucks.
Yeah,
No, I can't because I can't. I have to go to work to get Starbucks. It's ridiculous.
We'll hook up for dinner when I come up that way. We'll hang out.
Yeah, I'm down. Just let me know, Mike. I'd love to do that. We'll get some of the
Got
JDF guys together. We'll go talk some sports, and
Yeah.
we'll all get some Starbucks in memory of Brian.
Yeah, take pictures. Take pictures. You can remind me about why I have to go drive 20 miles to get a goddamn coffee around here.
Yeah.
I love the picture of you and your wife, and then your son had the cake pop.
This kid has no idea what he's in for. I'll tell you.
He's like, "Can we go to Starbucks?" I'm like, "Sure."
This poor
I
kid.
love you, buddy.
We can go to Starbucks.
We have so many Dunkins around here, but I do have a Starbucks like 5 minutes from my house.
Listen, I'll give you some drink recommendations. Our next guest, Brant, actually asked for one, and he really liked it. Like, I don't know much in life, but I know good coffee. So just like, need to tell you something. I'll send
Kevin, thanks, pal. We'll talk to you later on.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Kevin Fitzmaurice from JDF Sports.
Yeah, the Celtics are getting the crap beat out.
Yeah, whatever.
They're getting beat by 27. It's the top of the fourth quarter.
Brant, you've been very patient.
Hi, Brant, what's going on?
You know what happened? I was voted most talkative in high school, so like it does happen from time.
We're just having a conversation. We see Brant on there. It's just like, yeah, what's good, dude?
Just hanging out.
All right, hold on. Time out. Violation on Ryan Warner's part. Ryan, listen. Find me on Facebook. Send me an instant message. I will give you a list of 10 different drinks that you need to go try, and you will never think this way again. Help me help you by giving you 10 drinks at Starbucks that blow everything at Dunkin' Donuts away. Everything.
If you sold all your stock tomorrow in Starbucks, would you even give a shit about Starbucks anymore?
Yes.
You feel a little different.
I just buy what I like. So all good stuff.
To be fair, I only do Dunkin' if I get like a free one from T-Mobile or someone gives me a gift card.
We'll see, but
I'm definitely more Starbucks. I prefer I'm even bigger snob though. Me and my wife custom order like $100 worth of coffee at a time because we like to brew our own at home.
Good, that's fine.
But yeah, no, Starbucks over Dunkin' by a mile.
Well, even Starbucks, you go to Starbucks for like a different drink, like a macchiato or something different. Like for coffee, you go to Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm just saying, you don't go to Starbucks for
I don't know if
coffee.
it's showing in, but that's a gold card since 2009.
Yeah, my wife thinks so strongly about Dunkin' Donuts. I brought her donuts and she threw them at me. So she refused to eat them.
Full disclosure, my wife likes the iced tea. Okay. But that's whatever.
For the company I work for up in Canada, those guys are all Tim Horton guys. They don't have no idea what's going on up there. So
Tony Kluge taking shots at Kev. Imagine a fan of the Celtics saying the Nets big three is unfair when they had KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
No, it is. It is what it is. So, listen. Heartfelt condolences in regards to your hockey team being eliminated. I was very happy. Not that they were out because I don't really care. Henrik would have got a ring, but the fact that Tom Wilson's not playing, suspended for the rest of the summer, I'm okay with that. Nothing personal.
Hey, why don't you tell Artemi Panarin to pick on someone his own size, not someone
that's
7
true.
inches taller?
That's true.
Know?
Yeah, he is a big guy, so I definitely understand.
You could be an Edmonton fan too. I mean,
well,
look at that team. I mean, how many expectations do they have this year? They're out in 4.
So the Washington football team, listen, they had a pretty interesting draft, and it started with the linebacker, Jamin Davis, out of Kentucky. Now, I know in your mock, you had them going linebacker, but it wasn't this one. I think you were hoping and praying that Micah Parsons would fall. That didn't happen. He's a Dallas Cowboy. But I know that you're pretty happy about this draft pick going into that really just up-and-coming stout Washington defense. It's really, you talk about units around the league that are maybe like starting to get some actual attention, like for the right reasons. And that's definitely one of them. I think their defense is fantastic. So your thoughts on the pick of Jamin Davis?
This is who I thought it was going to be when I saw where we were realistically. Of course, I wanted Micah Parsons to drop. Why not, right? I mean, I thought he was hands down the best, like, true linebacker in the draft. I actually had Jamin Davis as number 2, slightly ahead of Zaven Collins. Collins' speed worried me a little bit, but Jamin Davis ran like a 4.3, like 4.38 or something like that, right around that 4.3, 4.4. And for a guy that's 6'3.5", 240 pounds, I mean, that's really impressive. I know when something that a lot of guys were like, yeah, I'm not really sure about this one. And then, the Giants GM comes out and be like, I was looking at Kadarius Toney or Jamin Davis, whoever was there. And it made a couple people feel better. One of the things that I know Rivera really wanted to address this year was speed and athleticism. And so I've been looking a lot into like the relative athletic scores. Are you guys aware of what that is? It's like it's a website where they take all of players drafted from like 1987 to now, and they essentially average out their athleticism with like the cone drills, size, stuff like that. And based on that, he ranked as the 15th most athletic linebacker to come out of the draft since 1987.
Really? Where was Parsons? Was Parsons close?
Well, let's see.
I'm just curious. I only asked that because all I heard was about Parsons and this athletic freak. So theoretically, I'm curious to see where the comparison was.
So Micah Parsons ended up as a 9.59. Jamin Davis is a 9.94.
Okay.
So it's still he's not bad at all. But Micah Parsons only benched 19, and Jamin Davis benched 21, which was a little bit better. And then what was it, the 40? There was one other one that the shuttle drill was a 4.4. Okay. So he's a little slow in that.
Were you surprised at all that this wasn't a pick on the offense? I mean, look, I know Rivera's a defensive guy, but like I look at that defense and I say like there really isn't that much to improve upon. Like they're very good. And I know that they were active in free agency on the offensive side of the ball, but like, and we're going to talk about obviously their second round pick, Sam Cosmi out of Texas as well, the offensive tackle, because again, that was also a position of need to make sure that whoever the quarterback's going to be, that he's staying upright. But was there ever any thought in your mind that they may have gone offense in the first round, given how good their defense already is?
For me, I was pretty sure. I was about 99.9% sure it was going to be linebacker, just because going into the season, all we have right now is Cole Holcomb and John Bostic. We lost Kevin Pierre-Louis into free agency. Thomas Davis retired. So when you looked at that, we're round a 4-3. We only had 2 linebackers. So I figured that would be where we go. Now, when Christian Darrisaw was sitting there, I was like, ooh, there's a shot, right? But I really like Sam Cosmi. And going back to this relative athletic score, he actually finished number 2 out of 1,119 players in athletic scoring. Only one guy was more athletic for him. The big thing for him, I thought he could have been a first-round talent. I think in some of my mocks, I had him towards 30, 31, 32. Cosmi needs to get taught up with some technique, but as an athletic specimen, he's up there with Trent Williams for me. Trent Williams was someone I loved coming out of Oklahoma. He was uber athletic, and I think you get the same thing with Cosmi. I really like the pick. I know we're doing a lot of maneuvering on our offensive line. We brought back Eric Flowers, with Miami eating like half the money on his deal a couple days prior to the draft for like a late round pick swap. We just got rid of Morgan Moses, who is 30, but he graded out pretty well with PFF. He had like an over an 83. He was a pretty good right tackle for us. And we just got rid of Jaron Christensen as well, who we had drafted a couple years ago. Cosmi comes in. I think he'll settle in probably at the right tackle spot. He's also got some guard flexibility. He's able to maneuver in the line. I thought he was a great pick there. I know all the talking heads really enjoy, like they thought that was great value. A lot of them had him going a lot higher. Addressing the offensive line has been a big thing that we've been working on this offseason, because I know we brought in Leno from Chicago as well when he was released, Cosmi. So they're doing some makeover on the offensive line, trying to get a little bit younger and trying to replace the guys that we've lost the last couple of years.
So, Brant, I know, they brought in some offensive linemen, and I'm surprised Ryan Kerrigan left, to be honest with you. I'm surprised the Eagles signed him for whatever reason that was. I thought he was a good defensive end. Things to that effect. They upgraded the offensive line. Like I said, they brought in Brown, they brought in Cosmi and things like that, which is good. Always good to bring the offensive line. But what kind of is a mystery to me is, and I knew they weren't going to do it high, but not even in the later picks, is they didn't address the quarterback situation. You do have Fitzpatrick there as a traveler. Veteran who will do the job, I think, fine this year as long as he doesn't get hurt. But I mean, you got a cast of characters behind me in Heineke, Kyle Allen and Steven Montez. I mean, where do you see this team going in the quarterback direction? You think they address that next year, or they think one of these guys is going to kind of be the guy moving forward?
I don't think it's settled at all going forward. I definitely see him addressing it next year or the year after. Maybe in a free agent. Maybe Aaron Rodgers finally is able to pry his way out. Deshaun Watson could be a good one. I think they came into this year looking to really establish the core around the rest of the team rather than quarterback. When I listened to Ron Rivera talk, he talked about how in Carolina they were so dependent on Cam to get things done. It was Cam and the defense. Now they've built this offense with playmakers of Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas, Diami Brown. And so they're not necessarily needing a quarterback to come in and dominate to win. I mean, Alex Smith went 5-1, 6-1 last year. And he's not going to win. He's a game manager at its finest.
And by the way, Cam still stinks, by the way. So
100%. People were like, we should bring in Cam. And I'm like, y'all need to go burn your phones and laptops. Y'all are awful. Anybody that wants Cam Newton on their team this year has not paid attention to what he's become.
An interesting stat, though, Brant, I'll tell you, I heard this, that 62% of Tulsa's tackles last year were because of Collins.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got ridiculous linebacker speed. I mean, he's a decent sized guy. He's not overly sized, not a monster, but this guy can get from sideline to sideline in a heartbeat. I mean, this guy is ridiculously.
He's a big dude. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5", 260. I mean, that's a big guy.
Yeah, I didn't think he was 260. I thought he was I thought he was like 240, 245. Maybe he was 260. I don't know. But
I mean, he's a big guy. But his was all intelligence, right? Like he's lacking the athletic a little bit, and he's more of that intelligent read. With Jamin Davis, you're going to get a little bit more. He's a little bit more raw, right? He's only started 1 year, but he brings that speed, athleticism. He can cover, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for linebackers.
Collins can find holes. I mean, Collins can get through holes and just eat people alive. It's ridiculous. You watch highlight films. It's just it'll make you jaw drop.
Yeah, Arizona's building a good linebacking core and defensive back core. Getting Isaiah Simmons last year, getting Zaven Collins this year. Like they're building their defense from the middle for sure, making sure to go around.
In the third round, they obviously we mentioned Cosme. I like that pick. He was a guy I thought might go in the first round. So to get a lot of the guys that ended up in that second round was actually I thought really, really good value. But Ben St. Juste, the cornerback out of Minnesota, was their pick at 74. And I think if there was anything they did want to add, I thought secondary was a need. Obviously, it wasn't anything on the front. I mean, the front four is similar. I mean, at this point, I don't know if there aren't that many better in the league. If there are, another pick. I know Hav was very high on He watched a lot of college football. He really liked this kid. Your thoughts on the St. Juste pick?
See, for me, I was like, who is this guy? Like, I didn't know too much about him. He started off at Michigan, ended up hurting his hamstring. The school puts out that he's going to medically retire. He ends up going to Minnesota and playing. If you look at his highlights, they are by far one of the most uninspiring packages I have ever seen in my entire life. Even when they put it up online into the Redskins stream on Bleacher Report, and people are like, these are highlights? Like, no interceptions. But what he has is he's got that length. He's got almost 33-inch arms. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. He has got that short burst speed. The shuttle speed is some of the best. Cone, he ran a 4.55. I mean, he's a taller guy that they're going to be looking to try to turn that Josh Norman-esque into. He's a guy that's got the athletic profile. He's just someone that never was able to put it together and stay on the field in college. It surprised me a little bit, but doing more research into the pick, I really like it. I think it's a good pick. I think he definitely has some upside, but there's definitely some bust potential there as well.
Diami Brown, the receiver from UNC, was their another third round pick, 82nd overall. Obviously, as a UNC guy, and I watch UNC basketball because I love Michael Jordan. So everything, again, I'm not saying here that this is, they took Daniel Jones, so on and so forth. But again, they keep adding to this position, and I think they're a touch on the underrated side, because I do think Curtis Samuel is like one of those like Swiss Army knife type players that you can do a lot of different things, and the flexibility is what's important, because you can line them up in different spots and you don't know what's coming. And I think the element of the unknown obviously is a plus for the offense. Did you like the Brown pick?
I loved it. He was the highest rated player on most people's boards at this point during the draft. And when you're looking at, there's got to be someone to take off the other side of Terry McLaurin. So I'm assuming Samuel will definitely fit in the slot. He can definitely work outside. You could even put him in the backfield with Gibson. There's so many different things you can do with Samuel. But I like Diami Brown. Some of the best ball tracking ability I've seen. Looking at his highlight package, balls that he has to juggle to catch. He seems to make the hard catch. I know the knock on him was that he would drop some easy stuff, but the hard catch he was able to do. And I like him on the other side of McLaurin, being able to draw some coverage away, being a guy that can go deep. He can, his route tree is not as advanced as some of the other guys that they could have gotten here. But his ability to track the ball and take the top off of defense, I think, will really come. And it works with what Fitzmagic likes to do, right? He likes to throw the ball deep. He's not one that's going to check down to the running back like Alex Smith did last year. He's going to want to push the ball downfield. And right now they have 3 wide receivers. If you're running McLaurin, Samuel, and Diami Brown out there, you have 3 guys that are all 4.4, 4.3 speed that can really take the top off of a defense.
So, Brent, can you tell me that you actually think Peyton Barber's ex-Buccaneer, Peyton Barber's a good running back, or he can't run himself out of somebody's nose? No, I'm just kidding. So,
No. Jared Patterson, the undrafted rookie, who I was going to touch on a little bit later, because I think he is a great guy. I think he's going to end up I'm not a big Peyton Barber fan. I don't want to say I hate him, but he averages 1.4, 1.5 yards per carry. There's nothing flashy. He's going to vulture touchdowns in fantasy. He's going to make everybody else angry. And he doesn't offer anything special. He's just a dude.
He's an average guy. Yeah. My real question for you was, the Washington team, they're far gone from the Jordan Reed days where the guy was just a beast. He just couldn't stay healthy. But you look at the depth chart of Washington right now, there's really no tight end on the roster besides Sammy Reyes. I know nothing about him. What's this team going to do for tight end? Are they planning to maybe bring somebody in just to kind of patch that up for a year, or do they have a plan for this position?
Yeah, I think you got to look at Logan Thomas. I know he was one of the better. I think he finished top 7-6 in tight end stats last year. Okay. He started off the year a little rough. Watching him in the first couple games, I was a little disappointed. He dropped some balls, but towards the end of the season, he was actually making some good catches. He was able to stretch the field. I know in fantasy, I think he ended up top 5-ish. I know fantasy is not the judge for everything, but it helps when, especially with tight ends. But no, he actually is a pretty good guy. When you look at what Ron Rivera wants in a tight end, he wants someone that's going to inline, block, be able to make some catches, move the chains, be a security blanket. Greg Olsen, right, was the guy that he had in Carolina for years. When you're looking at tight ends, I think that's what you're going to be looking for. And I think that's what we got in John Bates in round 4. He's not a guy that's going to blow the top off of defense. He's going to be an inline blocker. Now, Sammy Reyes have you seen him with his shirt off? It's a weird thing for me to say right now, but the dude is a physical freak. He is 6'5", 250, runs a 4.5, 4.6. Basketball player trying to go into football. I would like to see him make the roster because I think they're going to try to stash him on the practice squad just because he's never played before. He started training for the NFL a couple years ago after realizing the basketball wasn't going to necessarily work out for him. But the dude is a physical specimen for sure. When they did the RAS for him, he finished with a 10.0, which is as high as you could get for a player. So he's topped the list. Just a physical freak. I would like to see him be able to put it together, but it remains to be seen.
One of my favorite parts of the Washington draft was that they actually took not the first, but the second long snapper in the draft, Cameron Cheeseman out of Michigan. I don't know how many long snappers normally get drafted. I don't know if this is funny just to me because it's a long snapper, but that was their pick in round 6. Any names stand out to you in their day 3 that you get any kind of excited about?
I like Derek Forrest as a 5th rounder. I think in the later rounds, they definitely wanted to hit people with athletic profile. Derek Forrest he ended up grading like a 9.69 out of 10, which is the 25th out of 772 for athleticism. They really wanted to go with guys that has a big athletic upside. And it's the same thing with Shaka Toney and William Bradley King. Both of them are top 10 in this draft for athleticism. Hell, Cameron Cheeseman is the top 15 for long snappers in athletic profile. Like, it's just a theme. One of my favorite parts of this draft, though, was watching Ron Rivera call. Like, he made it a point for him to call the players to let them know. Some of the best videos and audios were from him doing that.
That is cool. Mike, any last questions for you, sir?
So where do you how do you think Washington will do this year? I know their defense is really going to be stout, I think. I think that the offense is going to be okay. I mean, do you think they have a chance to get second in this division? I don't know if they have a chance to win, but do you think they have a chance to be second in this division?
I think they have a shot to win the division too. A lot of it's going to depend on how Fitzpatrick gels with the team and how that works out. It's a 1-2 race for me with Washington and Dallas for the top spot. It just depends on how they all put it together. Last year, Dallas wasn't really gelling with each other. Like, even with Dak Prescott, they were 1-4 and Atlanta Falcons hot potato away from being completely no wins in the first 5 weeks. But no, I think as long as you have a defense, you have a shot every game. And bringing in Fitzpatrick, or whether it be Heineke, which I don't think it's going to be Heineke. I think he had a really good game, but when you're looking back at his Old Dominion stats, I mean, he threw 18 interceptions his senior season. In his career, he's thrown more interceptions in the NFL than he has touchdowns. I don't think it's him. I think this season we're purely going with Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're going to give him a chance to play the whole season, see if he can work up some of that magic that he's known for, to pull out games, to be a little bit more of a game manager than he has in the past. I think we win 8-9 games, but when you're looking at the schedule that we have, my God, is it a gauntlet? I think in the first 4 weeks, we have the Packers, Bills, Ravens, and Bucks. No. Yeah, 4 losses. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they say the Cowboys schedule's so easy, but neither here nor there.
Actually, I think it's week 5. I'm sorry. They play the Bucks week 5 before they go to New England, the Bucks. So
looking at in totality this draft, and I know that you were a fan of the first couple of picks for sure, but are you happy with what they did? What grade do you give it, and what level of confidence do you have moving forward as a result of the players that they took?
I gave him an A-. I thought it was a good draft. They hit their biggest need at linebacker. Offensive tackle was another big one. And then they go after athletic guys. Every guy that they brought in is going to be a high character guy. You're not going to get that guy that comes in with super big question marks off the field. But overall, I like the draft. I think the guys that in the later rounds can definitely participate on special teams, can work well in other areas of the game. I mean, if you look at Dax Milne, who was our 7th round pick, the pick before Mr. Irrelevant, he is almost a spitting image of what Adam Humphries was coming out of college. They right around the same athletic score. Guys that are both very trustworthy in the offense, guys that'll catch the ball, they won't drop a whole lot, and they're just going to be security blankets. There was no pick where I was like, I think you should. I mean, maybe Benjamin St. Juste, but once I did more looking into him, I realized, that's a really good pick based on his athletic profile. So for the draft, I give him an A-. I would have liked to get Jabril Cox because I do hate that y'all got Michael Parsons in the first and Jabril Cox in the fourth.
Well,
to me, that stung a little bit.
I mean, they also were sandwiched around some extremely questionable picks in the third round.
Oh, that whole third round was. I'm like,
Yeah.
who? Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that on our show. I definitely got into that on game-winning drive. That third round for Dallas was questionable picks. I think that's just being generous. But no, I mean, outside of those three questionable picks, y'all had a good draft too. And same Tampa Bay. I mean, picking up Tryon in the first round, picking up Trask in the second.
It's all about he's.
Brent, I ordered a jersey. I got a Trask jersey coming. I got a backup quarterback jersey I ordered. They're gonna think I'm nuts when I go into a game this year.
Now the question is, how much begging do you think Bruce Arians had to put in to make sure that pick was okay with
had to get it cleared
with Tom Brady?
You have to get it cleared.
I think it was fine. I think he obviously told him about it. But listen, Trask, the reason I like him is he's got a big arm. He's a smart kid. He's going to be a project. He's got to get caught up to the speed of the game. He's going to have some growing pains. But why not learn behind the best quarterback in the league for 2 or 3 years or wherever it is, and then get put in when you're comfortable into a system where you're going to have a majority of these guys back. I mean, it's a perfect situation for him, and he doesn't have to go far from home. I mean, it's a perfect landing spot for this kid. Unbelievable. I'm a little excited about him. A little bit.
It was a good. I mean, y'all didn't have any major needs though. Like your team is bringing back everyone, all the starters. Like y'all are just filling up depth.
Guys took less money. I mean, Mike Evans said he'll take less money if the guys will come back, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, y'all got to be the favorites, or top two.
Or I think one or two, top two. Yeah, they got to be.
You in Kansas City every year until Brady retires. If he stays there, it'll be the favorites.
He can leave on his own now. I'm not going to say a word. He can stay there until he's about 80. I could care less.
Said I'll be retired in my job before he retires, and that'll be okay. The avocado ice cream.
Yeah. I got my face last year. So I didn't know what I was getting with a 20-year veteran of New England coming down there as an older guy. Didn't think it was the downside of his career, but you know what? Tom, do what you want.
Tom settled the debate. Was it Bill Belichick or is it Tom Brady? Obviously, it was Tom Brady because Cam Newton didn't get it done.
Well, he also went to a system where everything was kind of set up there too. I mean, all they needed was a quarterback. Winston didn't do it for him before Brady, so all I had to do was plug in a good quarterback, and you get the best one of all time. And look what happens.
I mean, I will say you can make the coaching case the defense won for him in the playoffs. I'm just saying.
Yeah, their secondary played phenomenal and last down the stretch. I mean, they were ridiculous, and the linebackers played great too. So, Vita sucks. So,
is there any chance that Alex Ovechkin signs anywhere else?
No, 0% chance.
It's either Washington or Russia. I'm just throwing it out there.
Washington or Russia. There's no. He has already bought stock into the Washington Spirit, which is a soccer team, and National Women's Soccer League. I mean, he's got roots there. My big question is, how mad are you going to be when we trade Kuznetsov for Jack Eichel? Because it's coming. It's coming this offseason.
It's not going to make me mad at all.
If Ovechkin leaves, that would be a PR nightmare. That would be nightmare.
I don't think that would make sense for Buffalo in the least. I'm not. Hey, we're getting Jack Eichel. I mean, everything's price dependent.
Yeah, I think Kuznetsov's gone. Kuznetsov is gone this offseason, though. I don't think they like how he's a negative influence on the younger Russians. He's already had that cocaine issue a couple of years ago where, I mean, I don't know why you're videotaping yourself doing lines.
Sometimes you don't. It's not that smart.
No. But then he got busted for COVID multiple times this year, not doing things he's supposed to. I think Kuznetsov's gone. Am I shocked we went out this early? No. After the issue with Samsonov leaving the puck back there for Smith to grab and score, it was done.
I messaged you immediately. I said that is a bad way to lose a playoff game. It just is.
The next game they came out so flat. The game after that, nothing. We were the better team in game 2 and 3. But you can't lose a lead with just a few minutes to go. If you've got a lead going into the final stretch, I think game 2, we gave up a goal within 3.5 minutes. And game 3, it was a goal at 7.5 minutes. Like, you can't do that. You've got to be smarter. You got to play better. You can't give an opening like that for a team like Boston.
Not to a team like that.
So Brent, my last question to you is, and I'm not putting it all at the feet of this position, but do you think it was time for Washington to move on from Holtby? Because see, I liked Holtby. I thought he was a good goalie there, and I thought he had the chemistry and everything going. He's had a rough year that last year before he left.
And if you look at his stats this year in Vancouver, they were not good either. He dropped off a cliff. Yeah. I love Holtby. I mean, one of the greatest playoff goalies that I can remember outside of Henrik Lundqvist every time we play him, or Yaroslav Halak or some other no-name, guy that was better in the playoffs. Yeah. God, we just ran into everybody during Ovechkin's prime. But no, it was time to move on. We have young goalies, Samsonov, Vanacek. We have guys that are good, high-quality goalies. For me, it was time to move on. Holtby was definitely showing his age last year, a little bit the year before. And he wanted more money. And I think part of him wanted to go back to Canada, too. He wanted to go back to, try to be closer to where he's from. And he ended up in Vancouver.
He might end up in Seattle. Just saying.
I think TJ Oshie. Is going to be the guy from our team to go to Seattle. I think it makes too much sense PR wise, right? Like, he's from Washington. He's a local guy. He's Captain America. I mean, does great in the Olympics. Does great in.
By the way, Bettman's still a douchebag for putting a team in Seattle. It's a dumb move.
At least it's 32. At least it's even.
Stupid. Dumb.
So how long till the Sonics get a team back up there to share a stadium with them?
Who knows? That's the team that should be up there first. They got a bigger basketball market than they do ice hockey when they got Vancouver an hour away. So
yeah. No, but TJ Oshie to me, I think is a guy that's going to be gone this offseason. He makes too much sense to come in and be a captain. Like 33, 34.
Oh, he's that. I didn't think he was that old. I think he's like 30. Okay.
But his cap hits like $7-8 million the next couple of years. So I mean,
yeah.
But he's good. He's a good two-way forward. I think you could slap a C on him. He can play center. He can play wing. From a marketability standpoint, it makes way too much sense for him not to go back to his home where he's from. And
I do also think you'd probably like the $8 million in cap relief.
I mean, I don't hate it. But, yeah, no, we need to get younger, right? Like, we brought in Mantha in the trade deadline, which I thought was a decent trade.
It wasn't cheap, but I did like the player.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see who the Flyers put out there. I'm going to be interested at that. I've heard swirls that JVR might be out there, but I can't see them putting him out there.
Why would they take him?
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's getting paid too. I mean, it's like throwing Kevin Hayes out there. Who's going to take him? Nobody's going to take Kevin Hayes.
Well, they can't because they gave him a no movement clause.
Right. No, they're all about loyalty. They're all just keep giving guys no trades. That's all. Just keep loading it up.
No,
check 7 years, no trade. Yeah.
I see. Me and my dad were talking about this tonight. Like, you look at the East Division, man. Pittsburgh and Washington are trending the wrong way right now with their aging superstars. Crosby's
so are the Flyers.
Yeah. Crosby is. I mean, he's still great. He's still Crosby, right? Like, Ovechkin's still Ovechkin. But when you're looking at the core of these teams, the guy that has got them through the last 10 years, they're getting up there in years. They've only got a little bit left. Same with Malkin and Backstrom. And, the teams are getting older. So it is going to be sad when you see Crosby and Ovechkin out of the league, because I don't think you're going to have guys that reach this level. While I think McDavid is going to be good, and Austin Matthews are going to be good, I don't think they're going to be Ovechkin and Crosby rivalry good.
Well, they did end up in the same division, charismatic guys. So, I mean, it is different. But
and McDavid is good now. He just got to get some good players around that can step up a little bit.
I just don't think you're going to have anyone that can score like Ovechkin does. I mean, if he played in the Gretzky era, I swear he put up like 300 goals. That dude has a gift. And yeah, no, to me, he's the greatest goal scorer of all time, just because he's done it. You know where he's going to be. It's not a surprise.
No, it isn't. It really isn't.
Yeah, but it's almost like the Jordan LeBron thing. I mean, they're two different eras and things like that. Hockey was different back then. They had enforcers. Guys would just skate. Now there it is. Now they have all this stuff that they do. Ovechkin, he checks too. I mean, not as much as he did before, but he gets back and buries some people. So.
You can post a video of him knocking out Svechnikov from Carolina last year. He put that dude to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the kid's 19 years old. I mean, it's like,
And then his brother clapped off on Facebook, and he disappeared. Like, you know who you don't talk shit to? A friend of the president. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
you will disappear.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll be doing some hockey talk over the summer. I'm sure you have an open invitation to come on the new show. So we'll talk. Anyway, Brant Meeks, game-winning drive. You can find them Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Only on the Sports Box. Why should obviously everyone should watch your show, but why should they watch your show?
Well, because we got some interesting characters on this show, right? Like Drew, Alex, I definitely think is I think Crowan. Yeah, it definitely has got his own character. And Ryan. No, we do a good job. We talk about football. It's from a fan's perspective. We're not going to give you some bullshit that you're going to get from ESPN and the talking heads that are there just for ratings. We're going to come at it from a realistic point of view, and it's entertaining as shit.
Yeah. We're going to chase them down. We're chasing them down.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and please get down to Washington. Talk to those guys. The football team is it's bad. You got to do something with that.
I don't hate it. I don't. You know why? Because what do you call them? You call them.
I've heard the Red Wolves is the leader, but that's even dumb. I don't even like that. The Red Wolves.
No, it sounds super arena football. I didn't keep it Washington football team. Everybody still calls them the Redskins. I mean,
I would have just changed the logo to a potato and moved all my life.
Just mix. Make Redskins. Leave it. Just capitalize the S, separate it, and then you're good.
Call them the Bullets, like the Washington team, like the basketball team was.
Can't do that.
Sure.
Washington is the only city that has a bunch of teams changing their names for some reason. I don't really understand. It's like the second one. I don't think there's any others that were even.
Yeah, no, it's
true. The Bullets was stupid though. Really, if you're named a Bullet, you're gonna make people want to go out and do violence, or it's just because you got MS-13 and a bunch of other horrific games out there.
They were the Bullets for years. It wasn't like a couple of years. They were the Bullets for years, for decades. They were.
Yeah. Speaking of, the Bullets drafted Ben Wallace, right? Congratulations on getting to the Hall of Fame as a mediocre offensive player. Or I would say subpar. Let's just go subpar offensive player, right?
Yeah. And talk about it. You're not hating on Ben Wallace, are you a little bit?
I love Ben Wallace. That dude was one of my favorite players to play with, but that dude he averaged 4 points for his career. Never once in his career, I think he averaged over double digits in a season for scoring, and he's an outfit. It's terrible.
Didn't need to. You could put a family of 7 in his afro and be good. So it wasn't anything. So, Brant, thanks for coming on. We really
appreciate being patient. We appreciate you coming on tonight, talking a little Washington with us, and we'll be as the non-football part of the season continues. I'm sure we'll be having more to discuss as well.
Yep.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Enjoy your Fitz magic.
Thank you. I will.
Take care. Brant Meeks talking Washington football team with us. Went a little over tonight. That's okay. We always have fun on the show.
Oh, always. So if there's not fun on the show, there's something wrong. So, and you can watch us every Tuesday at 8:30. We will be here to give you the highly opinionated opinion with our vast array of crew that comes on the show, guests, and all kinds of good stuff. But first, before we get out of here, we got to give you your sponsors.
Number one, Showcase Sports, Hammonton, New Jersey. Make sure you check them out. Let them know we sent you. They will take good care of you. Number two, Dave Birnbaum, Remax Community. If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, Dave is your guy. Give him a call. Let him know that we sent you. And of course, 99 Jersey. Check them out. Use our code SportsBoxShow20. Save 20% off your order. Put that money in your pocket.
I got 99 problems, but that ain't one. So.
Look at you dropping Jay-Z references.
I'm just dropping everything. So make sure you get the programming note tomorrow at 8 o'clock. The boys are back. Me, myself, and Dave Cartwright, the golf pro from Trump National Golf Course, back on Teeing Off. We will be talking about the PGA Championship with Phil Mickelson. Not with Phil Mickelson, but about Phil Mickelson winning the title.
You can get him?
Yeah, I'd love to get it. I'd love to get Phil, but probably not going to happen. So you never know. You never know. You make a phone call. You never know. So, but anyway, we'll be back 8 o'clock tomorrow, Teeing Off. Check us out. We will be talking about the championship. So, but in the meantime, for myself, Hammonton Michaeletta, and Brian, the Ranger at Heart, highly opinionated. Thanks, you folks. We will see you next week.
Peace.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Highly Opinionated Show on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets on Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hammonton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.